Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Foothill Paint Fabrication. Today we're back on the bed, running boards, and tailgate. Yesterday we got the base coat sprayed on everything, and it looks really good. Today we're going to be spraying the clear. We're going to get 3 coats of clear on these. So let's just jump right into it, get these things tacked off, and get some clear mixed up, and get going. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tack these off all real quick with the air hose blowing at the same time. Make sure we get any dry spray off or any dust that settled over the night. And then we can turn on the exhaust fan and mix up some clear. Okay, while I'm tacking off, I'm looking for any areas that I didn't cover properly, or maybe it's jacked up somehow, or there's a little something in the paint. If there's something little nugget from the gun stuck in the paint, a lot of times I'll just tack that out. I'll kind of keep going over it, and it'll break it off almost every time. And then any other areas. So if I find something like I didn't have enough coverage, it looks blotchy or something, I want to stop. I don't want to spray clear over it and hope it's going to look better, because it's not going to look better. I mean, you're still going to see it through the clear. So it's better just to stop now. This paint is still open. I could probably just put some more blue over the top, let it flash off 20-30 minutes and go ahead and put clear on it. Or I can just push them outside and then do the panels that are ready for clear and then sand this whole thing. Let's say it's the bed, and then spray some more blue on it and then put the clear on. So there's no reason rushing and just thinking clear is going to fix it. So the clear is expensive. If I put clear on it, it makes the repair that much harder. So if it doesn't come out right, then just slow down a little bit, take a break, think about how to fix it before you get some clear on it. So I'm going to finish blowing these off and tacking them, and then we'll start spraying some clear. Okay, before we mix some clear, let me talk about a couple of things that I think are very important tools for me in this shop: the clock and the temperature gauge right there. So it's not quite 60 degrees in the shop right now, and so it's a little cool. The reducer we're using for this clear is designed for cooler temperatures, but not 60 degrees. So what I'm going to have to do is extend my time in between coats. Now this clear is a production clear. It's designed for 2 coats only, but we're shooting 3 today. So what I'm going to do is I will spray it, and the instructions call for, as soon as you're done spraying the first coat, you go right back at it and hit it again, clean your gun, and you're done. Let it flash off, turn the oven to 140 degrees, and let it bake for 30 minutes. Well, we don't have an oven to bake it, and we're going to be using 3 coats. So what we're going to do is we're going to use time to extend in between coats to let the solvents boil out, so when we put the next coat on, it doesn't combine with the solvents that are already in the coat below it and then cause a sag. So what'll happen is you'll spray it and then you'll go back over it. In this case, this stuff is really good. You can go 2 coats and stop, and it's beautiful clear. But I always put 3 or 4 coats on because I know I'm going to sand it possibly and polish it out. I want that extra clear on there. So you'll put the 2 coats on, and then you'll go to put a 3rd coat on, and the solvent from that 3rd coat will get into the other 2 coats. The combined weight and the solvent will soften them up, and it'll sag on you. You'll spray it, looks beautiful. You walk by 10 minutes later and you'll be like, oh, what happened? Well, that solvent ate in far enough and the combined weight, and then it just sags a little bit. So if you don't have a clock in your shop, pick up a cheap one, stick it in the garage or whatever so you can look at it. It keeps me in check all the time. I'll sit down thinking, okay, I'm not going to spray another coat for 15 or 20 minutes or whatever it is. And in my head, I think I'm sitting there and it's, 15 minutes have gone by. Look at the clock and 3 minutes has gone by. So I get really antsy to just keep putting more clear on. I'm sure a lot of you have the same problem. So having that clock up there really helps a lot. Trust me, just any cheap clock you can find, Walmart, whatever, $1, $2 store, whatever, put a clock up in your shop. It'll help you a lot. Let's mix up some clear and start spraying. Okay, like usual, we'll be using the mixing cup, and it's got 2-1-1 right here, and that's our mix ratio today. 2 parts of clear, 1 part reducer, 1 part hardener. And so it's spelled out right here, so we'll be mixing a full cup or full quart here. So we'll pour it off, and then makes it simple, no guesswork, and we'll get this mixed up properly, and then I'll get the exhaust fan on, and then we start getting our first coat on. And I try not to stir in bubbles. The cups, you know, it takes the clear from the bottom, so having bubbles isn't that big a deal. But you certainly don't want to aerate your material. And I'm going to give it a good stir, and then I'll stir it again really good before I pour it into the paint gun. Okay, I've given it a solid minute of stirring. There's no reason to get in a rush. Make sure you do a good job of incorporating everything in there. This material obviously mixes quite well, but you want to make sure you get everything mixed up really good. Now, like with the blue, I'm not going to go about halfway, maybe just under halfway, because I have to spray up a little bit, and I don't want a full cup where it's going to come out the air bleeder on top of the cap there. So I'll just put my stir stick down and let the material run. And what this does, it makes it hit the center, and then once I start flowing, then I can pull it away. Sometimes you'll go to pour, and it'll hit the strainer, and it'll cock it a little bit, and then it'll squirt out the side or something, or splash up. So I always use that stir stick to hold that down and then pour up against it and let it hit. And then we're just going to swing this over and let it drip in there, nice and clean, just like that. And we're ready to spray. Okay, so I'll have the gun adjusted pretty narrow to get all the hard to reach areas up underneath. I want to make sure I hit those first. And then we'll open the pattern up, and we'll get one good wet coat on. And then I'll test it, since the instructions call for to go right back at it, but it's a little cool in here. It's still just 60 degrees. And then we'll see about getting another coat of clear on. I'm looking for any dry spots, so I can hit them now and not try to cover them later. Okay, when you're laying down your first coat of clear, it's very important you get it as wet as possible and get it to flow out as much as possible. It's your foundation, and if you get dry spots or whatever, or it's orange peeled, you're going to chase that the other subsequent coats, and then you're just not going to get a good job. Now, you want to lay it down as glossy as possible, obviously without a run, but remember, The panel is dry. You don't have any other clear on there right now, so you're as safe as you can right now to put it on pretty heavy. So gloss that up really good, and then you'll have a beautiful glossy job when you're done and you're not chasing it. Your subsequent coats of clear can be a little bit lighter because you've got a good base on there and they all meld together. You still want to put medium wet coats for your subsequent coats, but that first coat really is one of the most important coats on the whole clear, because it does set the tone for the rest of the clear. Now here I'm doing the corners, and I get down in there pretty good, make sure those corners get a lot of clear, but then I move away from them because when I do the panel, it's going to get a double coat when I come up to that corner, and I'm going to get a run if I don't do something about it. So what I'll do is I'll do the corner, and you notice I moved off to the top here and getting up underneath there, and then I'll do the other corner, and that whole time where I finished off on the first one, it's flashing off and some of that solvent's leaving. Now you got to hedge your bets, you got to do whatever you can to keep yourself from putting a run in there. So this helps me keep from putting a run, and so now I'll do this corner, and then I'll move back and do the field of the panel. And when I butt up against where I just sprayed all that in that corner, it's already flashed off a little bit. So it's just a way of helping you lay down a nice wet coat without putting a run in it. Now you'll notice me look at an angle quite a bit, and now I look at an angle where I look exactly where the clear is actually hitting the panel, and obviously I'm watching everything else to make sure I'm getting a good overlap and everything else. But you see here I'm looking at an angle and really watching the light as I put the clear down, and that just helps me make sure I lay it down at a good mill thickness and nice and glossy. Okay, I just mixed up another quart. I'm going to go ahead and go over what I sprayed so far, look for any dry spots. Okay, right up underneath this lip I can tell it's a little dry, so I'm going to have to get the gun up in there really good and get that good. Other than that, it looks pretty good. Okay, it's been about 10-15 minutes since I finished spraying, and I've checked the on the tape here, it's tacky, it's not gooey. So I'm going to go ahead and put the second coat on, and I've identified areas that were a little dry on the first coat, so I'm going to hit those a little bit better and hopefully we can clean that up. I'm not going to go ahead and film it, it's just more of the same of me spraying. So I'll bring you back once we get that done and the air clears a little bit, and we'll take a look at it, see how we're doing. And then we'll just wait that much longer in between the second coat and until we can put the third coat on. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and suit up and then get this thing sprayed. Okay, so second coat's ready to go. It took about 10 minutes or so. It feels pretty good. So right now we have about 2.5 quarts of clear on everything. So, and that's not bad. Remember, we got inside and outside of the bed over most of it, the running boards, and 2 sides of a tailgate. So I put it on, and complete disclosure here, I got a little sag down there at the bottom. It's more of a drip off the end of the tailgate. Just took a little paper towel and absorbed that off there a couple of times. Now it's gone. It was just a little clear drip sticking off there. There's no sag in the panel. But those are the kind of things I look for, and if I can fix them while the clear is still wet, all the better. It's a lot easier to fix it when it's wet than trying to sand it out. So I've been even known to take a piece of sandpaper, or not sandpaper, but masking paper, and take a sag and just kind of take all the extra off the sag, and then let that dry extra long, and then put a couple of coats of clear over the top so I have something to sand. It just makes it that much easier to fix later. So I'm going to go ahead and spray some more clear. This will be the third and final coat. And then I've got about half a cup in the, or half a container in the gun. We're going to see how far that goes, and then I'll mix accordingly to get so I can cover the rest of it. Right on the money. A little tiny bit left in there. That's it. Okay, that's it. That's three really good coats on there. So I'm gonna let the air clear. I gotta clean the gun. I've got a little bit left in the cup. Tempted to pour it in there and add some more, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to chuck it. I over mixed just a little bit on that last batch, but it's only a little bit in the mixing cup, so it's not a big waste. So in the old days, I would be tempted to put it back in the gun and go add some more, and then I end up putting a sag or something in it. So I've learned over all these years not to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and clean the gun, and I'll bring you back once the air clears. Okay, all done. Air's clear, gun's clean. Bed came out really nice. I don't see any major catastrophes. So pretty happy about that. A couple of nubbins up on the top here. A nubbin is where it builds up on the tip, your air cap on your gun, and then it kind of flies off while you're spraying. You can avoid that a little bit by taking a little lacquer thinner on a clean rag and wiping the gun every once in a while. The running boards came out beautifully. I have no issues at all that I see right now. Once they go out in the sun, I might find something, but the clear laid down really nice. Looks good. No bugs or dirt in it. You see that guy right there? That's what happens when you have a very loyal dog. He lays right where the air's coming in. But he didn't lay there till I was done spraying, so we're all good. He's a good boy. One problem. Somebody got a little heavy-handed with the clear on the tailgate, and I know you probably can't see it, but right at the corner of some of these letters, almost all of them, there's a little tiny, just a little drip. Some of it only drips just a little bit, and then it stops. So, and that'll happen on corners. The T's the worst. But where that corner is, it just kind of combines there and drips off. So, and that's on me. Got a little heavy-handed. But I can fix it. We'll sand that out and polish it. All right, all in all, not a bad day. All right, that just about does it for today on this video. We got 3 good coats of clear on the bed, running board, and the tailgate. Maybe a little too much on the tailgate, but we'll fix that later. But I'm happy with the way everything came out. It was a good day. So thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. I appreciate all the subscribers so far, and if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. I'd really appreciate it. And if you like this video, give it that thumbs up. It helps promote the channel quite a bit. and mash that bell icon so you get a notification every time I release a new video. We'll see you on the next one.